All right. Hello there. I am Amber Lillystrom of amberlillystrom.com, and I am so excited to welcome you to our very first Brand Love Soul Chat 2015. And I could not be more excited than to introduce our guest today, Miss Kate Northrup. Hi, Kate.
Hi.
So Kate is the best-selling author of the book, Money, a Love Story, Untangle Your Financial Woes and Create the Life You Really Want. It's right here. She's a professional freedom seeker, a creative entrepreneur, and she's been featured everywhere from U.S. News to The Today Show to Huffington Post, Glamour magazine, and a whole lot more. So, Kate, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited to dive in and talk to you about your brand and your soul and the love and money and all of it.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let's just start, on the Brand Love Soul Chats, the focus is to talk, creating an amazing space here for our soul sisters and some brothers too, to share our journeys with aspiring entrepreneurs, fellow entrepreneurs, and just kind of sharing the ins and outs of the process and how we got here, and giving people that encouragement to say, you can do it too, and continue on when it gets hard. So I believe that in our businesses, no matter what, we need to kind of navigate with our personal mission statement, right? It's like our bedrock and what we kind of go back to when we're feeling a little off course. So I wanted to offer that to you. Can you tell us about your personal mission statement and how that has helped guide you in your building your brand and business?
So, I've never actually written a mission statement. And every time I've tried, I just can't. So I will tell you this. What I'm really about, and what I suppose if I could come up with a mission statement it would be about, is about creating freedom. And so it's really creating freedom for myself, of course, for my family, and then for anyone else who chooses to hang out with me, either in person or online. And to me, freedom really means the choices to create the life that you really want to lead. And what I believe is that when we have true freedom and we are living our lives according to our own decisions, then we free up a lot of mental energy and creative energy and emotional energy that we can be of much greater service. So it's not, if you want to go sit on a beach and drink drinks with umbrellas in them, that's awesome. I like doing that a little bit, but the reality is you can only sit on a beach for so long. It's not necessarily about the freedom to do nothing. It's about the freedom to do the things that are the most meaningful to you. And I am getting completely blinded by the sun.
Yeah, when it
awesome late January sun here in Maine. I'll just do a little scoot over here. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Awesome. That's fantastic. And I can completely relate with the freedom thing. And I know our viewers can too, right? And specifically, being moms and trying to run businesses and trying to get out of the 9-to-5 and all of these things, it plays such a big role. So tell me about how, because I know freedom is just such a centerpiece to your brand and your business endeavors. And it's like such an intersection of your life and your business, because it's obvious you do things you really love. So how did your brand, how did you come to creating the Kate Northrup brand and, doing all the things that you're doing, writing the book, going out and speaking tours and all that? How did that happen?
It all happened. I always feel a little silly saying this because I'm so much about mindfulness and consciousness, but it really did happen by accident. I started a blog in April of 2010 because I just wanted to write. And up until that point, I didn't even know that a blog was a thing. I really didn't know that people wrote blogs or read blogs or anything. And then I started reading Danielle LaPorte's blog, and I loved it. And I started meeting all these other bloggers in New York City, where I was living at the time. And I got really inspired. But I certainly wasn't aware that, I was vaguely aware that a blog could be a business, but I didn't really think about that for myself. So I just started writing and about whatever I wanted, which felt so good because at the time I was feeling a little stuck in my business partnership with my mom, and I was feeling a little squelched, creatively speaking. And so I just needed an outlet. So I started writing and people really liked it. And I started getting subscribers and who weren't, people I knew. And that was pretty exciting as well. And then my first sort of foray into making money with it was recommending a couple of affiliate products, because I actually started doing affiliate marketing before I even had a blog or a list. I just kind of had a couple of things that I had purchased and really loved and wanted to recommend from some friends of mine. I started with Danielle Laporte's The Fire Starter Sessions when it used to be a digital experience. And then Marie Forleo used to run a course called Virtual Mastery. So those were my first two ever affiliate products. And I loved both of those women so much. It was so easy to recommend their stuff. And so I did. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I just made money doing that. And that was really awesome. And it developed from there. So I started, I was at the time, so when I went on the Freedom Tour, which was this road trip I went on from 2011, actually, was basically the only time I was on there, 2011. It was a 10-month road trip. And I was going around the country doing these workshops called Women and Wealth, where I was teaching women how to think about money in a new way. So I taught them Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, which is in my book, and I always teach everybody about that anytime I get a chance. I was teaching about money mindset stuff, some of the things I'd learned from Barbara Stanny, some of the things I'd learned from Robert Kiyosaki and other different people, and just my own experiences. And that workshop actually basically became my book. So that was a workshop that I started with one of my team members in USANA, which is a product partner that I work with in direct sales. And that workshop became this book. When I was asked to do a book, it was like a whole, I have a series of, my journey with my brand has been basically that things have come about that I did not expect, nor was I ready for, nor was I exactly wanting it to happen, which is very weird. And it's not, it's whatever, it's my journey. And I will just be totally transparent. Like, I struggle with being like a personality brand.
Yeah.
I think it's weird.
Yeah. I know.
So that's just what it is.
As a branding expert,
I'm going to move over here.
Yeah, you're totally spotlit in every direction.
Oh, here we go.
There we go. That's good.
Okay.
As a branding coach, I can tell you that it's unavoidable in a lot of ways. So you're doing a really great job at it, and you make it look really simple. So I appreciate that you just shared that vulnerability of like, I'm just kind of going as I go.
Yeah, always. And I will tell you, like, Mike's away, my husband, on a business trip. He and I are business partners. He went to Chicago for the weekend. I've been home by myself, and we were on the phone yesterday, and he was like, we really need to have a sit down and talk about, like, where do we want our business to go? Like, what are we, the vision, and we have all these projects, but I think as a business owner, oftentimes we can get so caught up in the projects and lose sight of the overall trajectory. And I feel like we are very much at a place of reinvention and charting a new trajectory, as opposed to just like continuing to bang out projects that keep us going in the same way. I mean, I'm not unhappy about our direction by any means, but just like taking that 30,000 view is so important, so you don't wake up one day and say 5 years down the road, oh my gosh, this was not the business that I wanted.
Yeah. And I think, so let's just dive into that a little further. So there's two parts. While you were speaking, I had like a million questions pinging in my brain, but there are two parts to it. It's the one about, because we've talked about this offline, about ease and wanting to create greater ease and allowing in life and presence. I mean, for me, presence is a really, really important thing in my world. It's like, I feel like I'm trying to evolve to being more present in my life and experiences, whatever those are. So there's that part. The other part is, I think about, one of the challenges a lot of my clients have is they feel such inner conflict about feeling like they need to be. So like in your case, well, you wrote this book about money and you're a financial expert in a lot of ways, but I know you're a feng shui expert as well. You have a lot of things. So how do you navigate that and then, show up in the world as Kate Northrup, the whole picture, and not feel like you have to just be this one-sided, one-dimensional person?
Yeah, I struggle with that. And what I have noticed, though, is that the more I speak from my heart and what's the most relevant and kind of up for me in any given moment, whether it's on my blog or in my speaking gigs, or in products, the more people resonate. And so I've had so many people say to me when I'm struggling and saying like, I don't really want to talk about money anymore, or I don't have anything new to say about money. You know, like I mean, that's actually not true, but, but the bulk of it is in the book, you know. I'm not somebody who's going to write 25 books about the same topic.
Yeah.
At least I don't think so. So anyway, when I'm in that place, I've had a few people remind me who are good friends, but who are also like diehard readers of my blog. Mm-hmm. They have said to me, Kate, just keep writing. Like, we want more of you.
Yep.
And honestly, like, you could write about herbs, like, or, you know, you could write about like whatever you want. And I don't think that when you first get started, now, maybe when you first get started, you can do that. But then at some point you kind of have to like dial it down. And so I got started talking about whatever I felt like. And then I dialed it down into money. And then the book came about, and I had this series, Financial Freedom Fridays, and that really grew the community. And I had the Money Love course, which will be coming back out in 2015. And so there are some things that you need to do, but then, you know, it's kind of like artists, right? You have to become trained and know the rules so that you can break them. I sort of feel like after a while, once you have that 1,000 true fans or whatever, then people just like what you're doing, and like
you.
Well, I know, like Danielle Laporte, for example. I mean, she's, you know, I just love her.
Yeah,
I would
me too.
buy anything she does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have like, everything she's ever done.
Started a fashion blog, I'd be like, great.
Cool.
I'll read every single post. Totally. Yeah. No problem.
Yeah.
I run a fashion blog. I'm so not into that. But so anyway, but on the other hand, as a personality brand, that's a lot of pressure.
Yes.
Right? Because then it's
so talk about that.
Signed up for you.
Right.
Oh my God. Right? So then you get into, okay, well, am I going to need to create weekly content for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
And when I think about that, I start to panic.
Right.
So I don't think about that. I just think about like, what's the next post I'm going to do? Because the reality is like, I have a, you know, potential idea list for blogs of hundreds.
For years. Yeah. And so I love that, because I'm sort of like, I hate rules. I think rules just make me feel like just so contracted, and it makes life really hard. And so same kind of thing, like toying with changing up my blogs and maybe writing 2 in a week because I feel really inspired about something, or not writing 1 in a week or whatever, and just letting it go, right? Just letting like what happens happen, and not setting up such a rigid structure in the way that we because that's the beauty of what we do, right? We can do it however we want to do it. We can change it whenever we want.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. High five to us for that. We picked the right job.
I agree, but at the same time, like, you don't want to be all over the place.
Right.
Because I have followed people who are all over the place, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this person is just completely, you know, whatever. And so it doesn't attract a lot of energy when you're completely all over the place. So I think that there has to be a thread of something that's consistent. And that thread may not be anything you can articulate, but people will feel it.
So that gets me excited, because that is like the golden thread that runs through us as beings, I think. And, you know, and that is within you, but the layers, right? So this is like where the money stuff comes in, and body image issues and relationship drama and all that stuff. Those things create layers that keep you from getting to your golden thread and to your center, right? Yeah. So how do you get yourself centered when you're all getting whacked out and feeling out of control?
I spend time with my girlfriends, or I reach out to them. That's pretty much guaranteed to get me back to my center. I am a total extrovert. I get reinvigorated through spending time with others. I find myself through spending time with others. I'm not somebody who's going to like go sit on a mountaintop by myself for a couple of months to find out who I am. If I did that, I would feel so lost. And I would be so depressed. So that's, for me, that really works. More sleep really helps. If I got more sleep. And then recently I have found that cooking is so nourishing. So literally nourishing my body can be incredibly nourishing to my spirit and soul, and just coming back to the basics. Like, okay,
yeah,
I might be freaked out about this thing or the other thing with my business, but like, I'm just going to make a meal right now, you know, and
back to the basics. I love that.
Really fundamental. And, I also just love that, and spending time with my husband and knowing that, like, if all of the business stuff went away, I think we could totally just go live in the woods, and like, I could make cappuccinos at a coffee shop or something, you know, I mean, it just, none of this stuff, I mean, this stuff is so fun. I love my business. I love it, but it also just on some level doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really nice to come to that place too, and just make a meal and just.
Right. And I think you can take yourself too seriously sometimes in this realm of being, you know, personal brands, and watching your follows and your numbers and your subscribers and your unsubscribes and all that. And right, at the end of the day, that stuff really doesn't matter.
Well, so a little anecdote about that. So Mike also comes from, my husband also comes from the internet marketing background, and he had learned a lot more about it prior to us getting together. I knew a little bit about it. I'd taken B school, and I had taken a few other courses, but Mike was he knew much more about the technical stuff, like subscribers and conversion rates and stuff like that. I never really paid much attention to it. And the first time he saw my back office of Aweber, which I was using at the time to send out my emails, and he saw my open rates, he was like, Kate, this is ridiculous. Like, the number of people who open your emails, your open rates are insane. Like, this is really abnormal. And I was so grateful, I have to say, that I didn't know to track that stuff. And I just wrote what I wanted to write. And I just assumed everybody had like that same open rate. I just sort of thought that was normal. And so sometimes it's really nice to just do your work. And I don't want to say ignore the metrics, because you have to make sure you're doing work that is making a difference and actually is moving the needle. But at the same time, especially when you're starting out, I think it can be so easy to obsess about like, how many likes do I have on my Facebook page? How many subscribers do I have? How many opens, you know, whatever. And it's like, especially the first year or so, that stuff, I mean, it takes a while to get traction.
It does. Thank you for saying that. Can you just say that again? Because so many folks are new, and it breaks my heart, because, you know, I'm relatively new too, but it's like, just let the process happen. If you continue to show up as you.
If you keep showing up, people will come. Right. And they will come at their own pace. Now, I mean, you have to have the basics, like an opt-in on your website, and like, you have to be putting out good content. So
regularly, yes.
That you're putting out good content regularly that helps people on some level, and you have an opt-in box, just keep doing it and they will come. And like, so I started my blog in 2010. It's 2015 now. I feel like just in the last 9 months, we've hit our stride in terms of kind of an exponential subscriber growth rate and stuff. But again, I check it very rarely.
Yeah. And I also would say too, though, like your team, I mean, congratulations again for getting married last year.
Thank you.
You know, you and Mike have really hit a stride, you know, with how you're doing things too. Just as like, you know, I was commenting that before we started recording about how great all of your branding looks and how organized and tight your videos are, and your, you know, opt-ins and stuff. And it's just really well done. And it makes you feel, you know, and this is just you, I think, Kate, as just who you are. You have such grace about you and such a relaxed sort of demeanor. It never feels like you're frantic. Do you know what I'm saying when you're asking subscribers?
No, I do. And I thank you for that. I have to say, there have been times when I have felt really frantic. And we have in the past put out a lot of products like last minute, and everything's rushed and it feels frantic. And over the last 6 months or so, there's just been a shift, and everything just feels so much more calm. And I'm also just really willing to slow down and do less. And I'm like, well, here's a practical example. We were supposed to launch the Feng Shui course, I think about a week before we launched it. And instead, we decided to go to New York City and be there to hide out in Central Park and film and photograph our friends getting engaged. And they'd invited us to do that, and we were like, obviously they hadn't, but he had.
Yeah, right.
And like, oh my gosh, we're supposed to launch this course and da-da-da. But the beautiful thing about having your own business is like in a moment like that, Mike and I looked at each other and we just said, we're going to remember being there for these close friends of ours forever. Right. This is a once in a lifetime. Who cares if we launch the course a week late?
Right.
It does not matter. And so I would also say an addendum to my mission statement is like, choose love over business. You don't have to choose, like you can have both, but there are moments, and I have friends who will say like, oh, I can't spend time because I'm working. And while sometimes you, of course, have to say, I can't be social right now because I'm working, I try to organize my life so that mostly I can say yes to that, because I know that, on my deathbed, I'm not going to be thinking about how many product launches I did.
I love that. Yeah. And I think that, I hope not. The setting those kinds of, foundational statements and beliefs about how you want to set up your business are the keys, right? To set up something that's going to be sustainable long-term. Again, doing something that feels authentic and feels like it's you. I'm just reflecting this because I know that, both of our followers, that's the information, the affirmation that they need in their businesses, right? As some are aspiring and some are entrepreneurs that maybe are not growing at the rate they want to be. And it seems like such a simple answer, but it always is the answer.
Just keep going.
Yeah, just keep going. So let's see, what other questions do I have for you? I have some questions from some folks over on Facebook that I want to make sure I get these in.
Yeah.
And there's some good ones. So this one's from Meredith, and she said, I want to transition from my full-time day job to starting my own path, my own business. However, my only fear is how am I going to support myself until I start making money because I have no savings. I know exactly what I want to do and how I will get there, but I'm really worried about how I'm going to pull it off financially since I don't have any money to get off the ground. And so she's not asking you to answer that. She's asking you, what would be your advice on how to navigate this transition and money mindset? So the mindset part of it.
Oh, and money mindset. Well, I have to just say something logistically. I wouldn't quit your full-time job unless you have like 6 months of living expenses in the bank. So I just have to say that.
Yeah, good. Solid.
And then mindset-wise, I would say really make sure that you're not talking about this with people who doubt you. So sometimes like our parents, they love us very much and they insert doubt. And
they crave stability, right? So they're
like, oh my gosh, what if it doesn't work out? Da, 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 da. And so if there are people in your life who are doubting and who are worried, it's because they love you. And you can also say to them, you know what, I so appreciate, I know you're saying this because you love me. And what I could best use right now from you is your support. So if you're not able to give your support verbally, I would prefer that we don't actually discuss this topic.
Good.
And setting those boundaries will be really helpful because as much positive mindset stuff as you do, if every Sunday you go to your dinner at your mom's and she is spinning out, and because you guys share the same DNA, you start to spin out, you're going to...
that's really good.
Not. And then other mindset stuff, continue to watch stuff like Amber's show here and surround yourself with the stories of people who have done that. And the other thing is, like, if you know exactly what you want to do, sometimes like it's okay to just have a little credit card debt at the beginning of starting your business. I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you're not just buying shoes and, taking trips to Hawaii and stuff. If it's a really beautiful graphic design and, a few other things that will really get you ahead and you'll be able to pay back in a couple of months, go for it. That's what credit cards are for.
Right, exactly. Help you get there. But just make sure you're paying them off.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't carry a balance for, extended periods of time. If you need a little crutch for a couple months, I'm not telling you to go into debt, but I am telling you, if you're in a job that you really hate and you know exactly where you're going, they might give you a tiny buffer.
Right. Well, and again, it's like exchanging the value, the money for something that's important, right? Yeah. Going to help you move towards your dream. So that ultimately is the right way to do it. Yeah. You can tell I've been a good student. This one's kind of related to some of the advice you just gave. It's from Jen. She said, how do we break free from our parents' financial scripts when the negative thinking is still something I'm hearing on a daily basis? You might have kind of already answered that, but.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would ask, are you hearing that negative thinking in your own head, or are you hearing it because you're talking about money with your parents? If you're still talking about money with your parents, stop. And then, I mean, that's honestly, it's like, if you're looking for abundance mentality and you know your parents don't have that, stop looking there. They don't sell cheese at the hardware store.
Right.
So stop going to the hardware store for cheese. You know, our parents are who they are.
Yeah.
And I do believe people change all the time. People transform. I live for that. And we also need to give the people in our lives the permission to be who they are. And like our parents are, they may be kind of cooked. Like they may be where they are.
Right. And we don't have to own that. That's not our story.
Oh, exactly. And so, so noticing what those thoughts are when they come up, I do recommend actually physically writing them down and then flipping them. So writing down, you know, oh my gosh, I'm going to run out of money, right? Like if maybe I'll never be able to make it at this career, whatever, then just flip it and make it into an affirmation or a mantra. So it could be, I'm going to run out of money. It could be, I always have more than enough to cover my needs and more. You know,
I have it posted in my wallet per one of your suggestions of money flows to me readily and easily. And it's,
I like that.
So every time I open my wallet, it's right. And there have been times where I'm like, oh, I forgot you're in there. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Money flows to me readily and easily. I love that one. That's a great affirmation. And these things really do help. You might think like, oh, it's so cheesy, but basically it just redirects your mind. It's like, we want our mind. If you were a car driving down the street, if your mind were a car driving down the street, you wanted to stay on the road between the ditches. Right. And so when you veer off, an affirmation just gets you back between the ditches.
Don't fall asleep at the wheel. I love that. All right. Let's see. We have a question from Meg. So I find myself, she's a coach. I find I stop myself from getting more clients because of the dreaded, I want to work with you, but I can't afford it comment that she gets. Having once invested in a coach that put me $10,000 in debt, I sympathize with them. And at the same time, that experience has taught me to show up even more fully for my clients. How do I extend beyond the pool of I wish but can't to yes, please today? I think there's some inner work that needs to be done. Yeah.
So it sounds like you have your own story, which is why you're attracting all these beautiful teachers as potential clients who are telling you they can't afford it because you've been burned. And so my recommendation is to do a little work around that past story and find out within yourself, what was the lesson from that coach? How did you actually, like, what were the golden nuggets in that experience? So, you know, maybe that coach puts you $10,000 in debt. And the phrasing is interesting, right? Mm-hmm. You said your coach put you $10,000 in debt.
Right.
Actually, she did not. You put yourself into $10,000 worth of debt. So go back in time and investigate, what was that decision? Why did I make it? Mm-hmm. Did I get any signals within my intuition? Did I ignore them? Why not? And do some work around that and own your own part of that.
Yeah.
Because if you're able to do that and you're able to see not only how you participated in that situation, but then also possibly how it served you. So maybe you actually do have a sharper intuition now. Maybe you have a better filter.
I love that.
Showing up even more beautifully for your clients. How great is that? Maybe you wouldn't have shown up in the same way. And so once you own that story and clean it up and own your own part of the story, I bet you your clients won't say that they can't afford it anymore.
Love that. That's really good and really, really insightful. Okay, and then here's just a practical one. What was the best, this is from Margaret, what was the best tool to help you save and pay off debt when you were used to a pattern of spending? Because I know you had a little period there. So what were there any specific tools that you were using?
No. I made a really dramatic change in my life, and I got out of New York City and I sold everything I owned, and I drastically decreased my living expenses. Mm-hmm. So for me, I needed to do something dramatic. I'm kind of like that. Yeah. If I want to make a change, I'm like an all or nothing kind of girl. So I'm either like eating, well, this is not true, but I was going to say like, I'm either like eating everything I want or like having no dairy, no sugar.
Right.
No wheat, whatever. It's not entirely true, but so yeah, I would say really do something to shift your daily reality so that you change the habit. Because sometimes subtle just doesn't work when we're super ingrained. But certainly having like accountability can really help. Having a money coach. I know there are some great money coaches out there. And then
one of your courses is a good
option.
Yeah,
one of my courses is great. But I would recommend actually tracking. You know what, Amber? Maybe we can put this in the notes. There was an article that came out today by Farnoosh Torabi, and she has a podcast called That's So Money, and she wrote an article for Time.com about kind of like the debt hangover after the holidays. And she quoted me in the article, but not in the part she quoted me. There was another part that talked about this app that helps you to cheer you on as you're paying off your debt.
Oh, okay.
I'll send you the link to that article and maybe you can post it below because I think that might help this person's question.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. The other thing you said too, which really resonated for me, and I started doing it, and I'm looking at my bank because I'm sort of like my bank account's all online and I just go in and look, but I'm really not doing a great job of tracking it my own. And so there was something there from PayPal for like $4.95, and I'm like, what is that? I don't even know. And that feeling of, do you contract or do you expand when you look at a transaction? So like when I went to Target the other day, I didn't really expand the way that I would have liked to, but I bought this really cute bowl. But Target is sort of like the black hole for most of us. So, but yeah, that brings such awareness when you start to look at it in that way and really take ownership for where your money's going.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you're the one swiping the credit card.
Right.
You're the one clicking pay now. Like, it doesn't just happen. We don't just wake up in debt. And so, not to be super tough love, but the reality is, like, you have to take responsibility for your life. And one of the things that I think keeps us so stuck is playing the victim.
Yeah.
And saying this happened to me. But instead, I love the old saying, things happen for us, not to us.
You're so wise, my friend. I love it. This is really great. All right, let's see what else I have for here. Oh, so we're talking about branding. What are some of your favorite brands out there?
Ooh, okay. I really love Lululemon, despite,
Yeah.
I still love those.
I mean, the pants, give me a break, right? Like,
I know. Yeah. I'm actually a huge fan of Stitch Fix. I really love the way the little note comes from my stylist and like their whole little style card. And I think the way they've done their copywriting is really cute. I love them. I've said Danielle Laporte, love her brand. Trying to think of some others that I'm like a diehard for. But those are some of the examples.
Mm-hmm. Everyday use pretty much in some capacity, right?
Yeah. Oh, the other one I love is the Dollar Shave Club.
Oh, yeah?
Amazing. I don't use their stuff, but my husband is a subscriber and he gets their razors every month and their branding is hilarious. And they send like a newsletter every month and it's updates about the employees and it's hysterical.
We'll talk about being innovative, right? They've taken something that's so mundane and necessary and just totally just taken it to a whole nother level. Yeah. So that is, and I really believe that as a branding coach myself, I love just like diving into brands that I admire and watching how they're doing things differently and innovating. Yes. It's so fun, right? Because you don't have to do it the tried and true. Yes, have an opt-in. Yes, design your website so that you can tell your story and have your services and all those things, but be different. If your heart tells you, go for that. Be fun. If you like swirly fonts, use them, right?
Totally. And I do recommend when you're in creation mode to put your blinders on and stop going online and looking at other people's stuff. Because if while you're in creation mode, you're spending a lot of time on other people's sites, you will come off like a second-rate version of theirs instead of like authentic.
The same thing for writing, right? It's like Danielle says when she's writing her books and stuff, she just like goes nuts. She doesn't look at anything to just.
Yeah, no, I didn't read any books on money probably for 2 years because I wanted to make sure my ideas were my own.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah. And I still honestly have only read one book on money like in the last 2 years.
Okay.
So yeah, I really recommend like this whole idea. My friend Tara Moore wrote a book called Playing Big, which I highly recommend.
Okay.
And she talks about one of the insidious ways that women play small is that like we don't notice, we think we're just being smart, but it's actually us playing small, is being obsessed with research and thinking we need to know everybody else's idea or curate everybody else's idea before we share our own. And that's such bullshit. Like you just say what you have to say.
Yeah,
I've heard somebody if you were inspired by them.
When people say, oh, pay attention to what your competition is doing and all this, well, yeah, what's your yeah, I do too. So what's your philosophy on the word competition? And
I don't believe in it.
I don't either.
I just think it's so silly. And I actually hate it so in our direct selling company with USANA, so we make vitamins, and people will say, well, who's your main competitor? And I'm like, we don't have any competitors. Our product is completely unique.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody's on the same, like they're all, yeah.
Yeah. I know I'm using them too. So I use products from other companies too. But I totally agree with that, it's if you are in that, I feel like that's lack mentality. If you're like so worried about what to your left and right are doing, I like to watch what my peers, I call them my peers, not my competitors, are doing, because I admire the work they do, and it helps me to do better work in my lane.
Right. Completely.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So I love to do this little kind of like fun, I love in New England that it's like getting dark right now too, right? From the beginning of the sun, and now we're like getting really dark here. I love to do sort of like rapid-ish fire, but I just ask questions of just some of your favorite things, because I like to, it's just fun. So
yeah.
All right. So what is your favorite book of the moment?
Oh, what am I really, what I read this summer, I read this great book called Essentialism by Greg McKeown that I just adored, about really boiling down life into what's important and cutting out the extraneous so you can really feel free.
That sounds awesome. I will definitely check that out. And I'll put in the notes of this, all of the books and the different things you recommended too, for sure. What's your favorite song of the moment?
You know what? I'm such a cheeseball. I love that one. I can't remember who it's by, but it's like about, oh my God, it's so cheesy. And it's about like, I'll love you. Like, it's Ed Sheeran, and it's like, I'll love you.
Ed Sheeran? Yeah. It's
that one.
Is it on the radio right now?
Yeah. Like, is it on the top 40 song?
Thinking Out Loud, that one?
Maybe.
It's like kind of low key. Like I love that too. It's on my Spotify.
Yeah, it's like about like I'll love you until you're old, or
that's it. Thinking Out Loud.
Yeah, I love that song.
We'll put the link in there too.
Okay.
What's your favorite indulgence of the moment, whatever that might be?
Napping. Napping.
I fell asleep with my daughter going down for her nap today in the chair, and she fell asleep in my chest, and I was like, I'm in heaven.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Napping. High five to that. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
All right. You went on a bender there with no coffee for a while though, right?
I did no coffee for about 6 weeks, and
you came running back.
I did. I'm on decaf, but I just love the taste.
Yeah.
It's better with it.
Yeah, I agree. I have an espresso maker, and I love that. Favorite band performer of all time? Who's your like
Pink
in music? Who? Pink?
Pink. Mm-hmm.
Pink. She rocks.
Love her.
What is most sacred to you?
I would say probably my relationship with my husband, and my relationship with kind of my higher self, or my inner guide, or whoever that is.
Love it. This is a deep one. When I asked Mel Robbins this, she was like, Jesus, Amber, what are you doing to me? What do you want most for all of us? What do you want most for us as a people?
I want most for people to know that to actually A, know that they have choices, and B, if they really don't, to have choices. Yeah. Freedom of choice.
Love it. Love it. Love it. This may be tied into what we've just talked about, but your number one secret to success in your business.
He's
telling you what his is.
My number one secret to success, I think, is being myself.
Love it. What are you most excited about right now?
I am most excited about hopefully starting a family soon.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys will have very cute babies. Well, we'll send good mojo to you to be able to do that. Here's my heart-shaped rock. And what's next for you? I know you've got a lot going on, so I want to talk about, you know, your courses and things so that people can take advantage of and get involved. I know the 21-day Money Love Challenge starts tomorrow, right?
Yeah. We have our 21-day Money Love Challenge, which is free every day starting January 14th through February 3rd, but you can join anytime through February 3rd. You'll get a daily little actionable tidbit in your email that you can take to put more loving attention on your money and create more abundance. We have our Feng Shui for Financial Freedom course that is up for sale all the time, which will help you to arrange your space both in your home and in your office to create beautiful Lakshmi. You've got Lakshmi there. To create more abundance. We've had the results from our students are freaking, like, they blow my mind. You know, people are like, oh, well, I found out my wealth and prosperity corner is above the fridge and it was this really clogged up cupboard, so I cleaned it out, and my husband came home with like an unexpected $3,000 check. I mean, stuff like that. It's as close to magic as I know how to do.
It feels like it. I need to start paying better attention. And you know what? I think I need to get real with my prosperity corner in the house. It's my master. It's the closet of all the places, and we need to husband it because it's right. We need to go in and just
Yeah. It's the best though. It's so free once you do it. And then we'll be relaunching the Money Love course in the springtime. It may have a new name, and it will be definitely new and improved.
Awesome. So good stuff. So in order to take advantage of all the stuff's on your website, right?
Yep.
So you can grab the links over there. I will have all the links listed below. And just thank you so much. This is just such amazing wisdom and insight. And, you know, you're just a lovely person. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Great questions.
Yeah, thanks. Hope it was a little different than the normal script that you're used to, with, you know, going through all that stuff. But, you know, people can hear all of those stories by all of your stuff's everywhere, whether it's on, you know, in your book or online. There's some really great videos on your website of talks that you've done, and they're lengthy ones. My dog's having a sneezing fit behind me.
I can hear that. I was like, what is that noise?
I bring the animals in here so that they don't go nuts out there if the UPS or something comes, and then we get that entertainment. But anyway, there's lots of Kate Northrup stuff everywhere. Your story is an inspiring one, and thank you for being part of the Brand Love Soul Chat.
Thank you for having me.